Hi, everybody, and welcome to the FlixList. This may be the most important one of all time. We're talking the best 3 Fast and the Furious movies. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the FlixList. This is the weekly countdown where I give you the best and top 3 movies in certain categories. This week, I am excited about the one we are talking about. Yes, we are talking the best 3 Fast and the Furious movies. I have made some big time decisions. I've really kind of gone over the quality of these films. I've had to make some tough cuts because, they are so good. Okay, maybe it's different. Maybe it's not as important as last week's one where we talked about the best Quentin Tarantino movies, but I had some fun. I did. Yes, we are talking about the best 3 Fast and the Furious movies in honor of Hobbs and Shaw, which is out this Friday. And trust me, I am pumped. If you know anything about me, The Rock is kind of my dude. And Jason Statham just so happens to be the man. And Vanessa Kirby is very, very talented and attractive. Yeah, that's true. And also, Idris Elba plays a genetically modified human being. So sign me up. And maybe I should just go ahead and put this number 1 right now. Okay, no, not yet. But we'll see. Maybe come back next year and this might make the top 3. So why don't you say we get to the countdown, all right? Okay, let's do it. Number 3, we're going with the OG. We're going with the original, where it all started. 2001's The Fast and the Furious. This movie is good. The storyline is solid. This is Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, and Michelle Rodriguez just being young and hungry and ready to win some Oscars. There's no possible way they had any idea that this franchise was going to become everything that it is now. But this movie really sets the tone for everything. The ridiculous action, the elements of family, the blurred lines of who is good and who is evil. But at the end of the day, it was really just about developing the characters and the storylines of Vin Diesel and Paul Walker. And yes, I say Vin Diesel and Paul Walker because I don't use their character names. They're kind of just who they are. When you look at those movies, you see Vin Diesel, you see Paul Walker. You don't really see characters' backstories. You just see those dudes. And that's what they were. They were dudes. They were made for this movie, and they were perfect. And the reason those guys are the reason why there were 8 sequels made for this movie afterwards. It's so good. And it set the tone perfectly. The drag racing scenes are cool. It's dark, it's gritty, it's fun, and it's good. And it's number 3 on the countdown. Okay, number 2, we are going Fast 5. In 2011, this movie changed everything for the franchise. The franchise itself was kind of meddling. It was sort of becoming stale and kind of unnecessary. So you know what you do? You bring in The Rock. And The Rock got the job done. It basically became an over-the-top, ridiculous action movie. It threw out trying to tell a deep, heavy story about street racing and basically just became an action car movie on steroids. But it also understood that you could actually just rely on the characters themselves, and in that you can find the humor, the connections, and the drama in between. The idea of the entire franchise was about family. And this movie really lets that entire concept fuel the engine. Yay! Driving puns. This is also the movie where Paul Walker and Vin Diesel came together and formed a super team of a lifetime. And The Rock basically made it all awesome and so good. But it really drives home because of the family. The family element, it's what drives the entire story. It makes you connect because you care about these characters. You grow to them. And you even notice it now with Hobbs and Shaw, Jason Statham, and The Rock coming together. And it makes it so enjoyable. And you get connected to it because you like these people. So it's so weird to say that the writing is good in these movies, but it is. Number 2. Fast 5. All right, number 1. Oh, I just spoiled it. The number 1 movie on the Fast and the Furious countdown of all time is Furious 7. Furious 7. I'll never forget seeing this movie. And I anticipated it. It was the first one of these I saw in theaters in a while. And the reason it was on my radar was because of the terrible tragedy of Paul Walker and his death and the massive, huge publicity behind the production of this film. How would they handle it? No one really knew. Was I going to have to bring in a box of Kleenexes into a Fast and the Furious movie? The answer was yes. But after all of the storylines and the tragedy and the sad anticipation of this film, we actually got a wonderful movie. But before we get to that and how they handled that, we're going to start off with the action, because that's what these movies are. This movie was so stupid and so awesome. Ronda Rousey showed up, so did Kurt Russell, and I was there for it. And your main villain in the movie was Jason Statham, and that's just the best thing to choose, and that's why it's number one. Also, you have in the middle of the movie a car driving from one skyscraper to the next, and I didn't ask any questions. I didn't need any logic. And also there were cars that were skydiving, and cars skydiving, but somehow, some way, at the end of this movie, I felt as emotionally involved and triggered and connected to anything. And it was how they tied the entire storyline together with Paul Walker's death. They used that real life knowledge of everyone knowing what happened to kind of its advantage. And they brought the stakes up in the movie, and they kept putting his character in situations of near death. And it brought a sense of like weight and emotional brevity that no Fast and the Furious movie ever had. And it was perfect, and it was handled fantastically, and all of the other action and ridiculous scenes just kind of lifted it up to really come home and deliver, and that it did. And that is why it is the number one Fast and the Furious movie ever, or at least until I see Hobbs and Shaw. All right, we'll go out to the movies. Hope you see Hobbs and Shaw. Hope you enjoyed the countdown, and I'll see you guys next week.